Straight ahead on 12 News, the loss of a legend. A Hall of Fame high school football coach loses his battle with cancer. Then, inspirational laughter at North Hennepin. Meet a comedian who brings much more to the table than just jokes. But first, the West Metro Fire Rescue District Chief resigns. Is it a new chapter for the joint New Hope and Crystal Fire Department? 12 News starts right now. There will soon be new leadership at the West Metro Fire District.
And that's after the fire chief offered his resignation. In a unanimous vote, the board for the shared New Hope and Crystal Fire Department approved a separation agreement with Fire Chief Scott Crandall.
The board has accepted the agreement, and now it will go to Chief Crandall for his acceptance. Based on conversations we've had, we don't believe there'll be any reason that Chief Crandall won't be signing the agreement and will be moving forward.
The fire chief offered his resignation Wednesday evening through his attorney. The move caps off months of bitter disagreement between fire department leadership and city officials over governance and alleged lack of transparency regarding West Metro's $2 million budget. Crandall has served as fire chief since 2006, but he started his career with the former Crystal Fire Department in 1978. The president of the West Metro Fire Board says the separation agreement marks a new era for the department.
You know, we've come to a decision here and we're going to move forward there, and it's going to be a positive thing for West Metro.
Crandall has been on leave since June. In a statement, Crandall said Thursday, "I would like the public and West Metro employees to know that I have enjoyed my many years with the fire department and wish them all the best in the future." Captain Sarah Larson is serving as acting fire chief for West Metro during the interim.
A Minneapolis man accused of soliciting Crystal Little League baseball players for sex has pleaded guilty. Michael Hamer admitted contacting Crystal Little Leaguers through Facebook seeking to have sex with the boys. He's scheduled to be sentenced in November. A concerned parent first brought the matter to police. Crystal police set up a phony account on Facebook pretending to be a Crystal Little Leaguer. Through Facebook, Hamer then arranged to meet who he thought was a 12-year-old boy at Becker Park. That's where police arrested him.
There is sad news on the local sports scene. The former head football coach at Wayzata, Roger Lapelt, has died after battling cancer. Lapelt was 70 years old. Roger Lapelt coached Wayzata from 1977 until 1998. He won 9 conference titles with the Trojans. He also coached boys tennis at Wayzata for 17 seasons. Lapelt also helped start the football program at Providence Academy. Later in sports, 12 News Sports Director John Jacobson has more on the loss of Lapelt and the legacy that he has left on the coaching profession. They took the oath, they got their badge. Now a new batch of police officers will be on the streets in Brooklyn Park.
Police Chief Michael Davis swore in 6 new officers Thursday. The 5 men and 1 woman have diverse backgrounds and are filling positions open that are due to retirements. Korzua Zhang has assisted Brooklyn Park Police, working as a cadet for the past 2 years, and she says she's looking forward to using her experience on the street.
The city of Brooklyn Park is a very diverse community, so I'm hoping that I can use some of my knowledge of diversity to the city, and maybe that'll benefit me and the police department as well.
And the officers bring the police department back to full strength with a total of 105 officers. After 2 months of gains, Minnesota's job market has shifted downward, and we're seeing a similar trend locally. Minnesota employers cut 2,000 jobs in August. It bumped up the state's unemployment rate to just below 6%. Despite the news, state job leaders say the long-term trend remains positive, with the majority of business sectors reporting job growth over the past year. Firefighters in Brooklyn Park had some trouble putting out a fire that threatened a business. Crews responded to a large dumpster fire at Wallman Optical, located near County Road 30 and Wyoming Avenue. The dumpster was connected to a loading dock, and fire crews couldn't get to the burning trash inside. They had to wait for a truck to haul the dumpster away from the building and then dump the trash out. It took about an hour to bring the fire under control. The cause is under investigation.
The political season is here, and that means campaign signs are sprouting up all over neighborhoods. In Brooklyn Park, all candidates receive the rules for placing signs when they register for office, but violations still happen. During the primary in August, the city removed 7 signs. Often they're put up by volunteers who don't know the rules.
Occasionally you'll have signs that may be impeding visibility. That's probably a biggest concern for us. We don't want any vehicles or bicyclists and that having any issues with visibility and causing a safety hazard.
Signs should be 30 feet back from intersections and not on public property or public right-of-way. By the way, all the signs we saw today looked like they were set up properly. Still ahead, a comedian who gives his audience laughs and inspiration.
Then later in sports, the Providence Academy football team builds momentum after a season-opening loss.
But first, it's a look at your AccuWeather forecast.
Comedians paying a visit to college campuses are certainly nothing new.
But North Hennepin Community College in Brooklyn Park has never had a visit from a comedian quite like C.J. Jones. Jones tours the nation delivering his special brand of comedy along with a powerful message, yet he's a man of very few words. Delane Cleveland shows us why.
C.J. Jones has many talents. A glance at his comedic act on YouTube shows a man who likes to pantomime and bust out the occasional rap song. Yet while he can certainly vocalize his thoughts, sign language is his primary method of communication.
I was born hearing, so I grew up hearing, but when I was 7 years old, I got spinal meningitis, and that caused my deafness.
However, he hasn't let the fact that he's deaf stop him from performing. Jones spoke with us Thursday afternoon through an interpreter at North Hennepin Community College before his evening performance.
I love to watch other people laugh, and that's one of my favorite things to do. I feel so good to make other people laugh and see them laugh and have fun.
But his act isn't only about making people laugh. Jones uses his performances as a teaching tool to educate people about the deaf culture.
Because I think there's so many people that don't know, and it's opening up their minds, and we can all become knowledgeable of the same thing and just send a message to the world who we are.
That's one reason why American Sign Language professor Diane McDonough wanted to bring Jones to the campus after seeing him perform at another college.
The inspiration I found was within his language and his facial expression. Just sitting there and watching him, I felt happy and I laughed and I felt connected. I felt like I could just completely understand him. It was just perfect.
Jones hopes others feel the same way. And ultimately, he wants to inspire as well as open doors for others just like him.
I like to see people's attitudes, their minds, their hearts opened, encouraged and supported. I want them to believe that they can do anything. Even people that are in a wheelchair, they're blind, it doesn't matter what their issue is.
In Brooklyn Park, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
In addition to being a comedian, C.J. Jones also founded a business aimed at creating more opportunities for deaf people in entertainment. Still ahead, a standout student in Golden Valley inspired by clowns.
Unusual, yes, but also very impressive. You'll meet him coming up in just a moment. But first in sports, John Jacobson has more on the loss of coaching legend Roger Lapelt. We're back in 2 minutes. Roger Lapelt is in our Hall of Fame out in the hallway and on the minds of a lot of people today.
Yeah, you worked for many years with him.
Great football and tennis coach at Wayzata, later football coach at Providence Academy, and certainly a man who will be missed. He was a Hall of Fame coach who helped build 2 local high school football programs. Roger Lapelt died of cancer Wednesday at the age of 70. His legacy was built through hard work, passion, and success. He considered himself a teacher first, a coach second. Roger Lapelt stepped away from the classroom 14 years ago, but he really never did retire from teaching. As recently as last year, you can find him out at the practice field at Providence Academy, where he helped start the football program in 2004.
Just a little bit more, that's gone!
But it is the 22 seasons spent as the head football coach at Wayzata where Roger Lapelt, the coach, made his greatest impact.
Enjoy every moment we can, because seniors, you and I got no more moments after this. This is it. Love you guys. Thanks for letting me be your coach. Let's go.
I can remember back in 1977, I was a junior high student at the time, and just the change in attitude around Wayzata football and the sports. And you know, there were 30 years there. We went between conference championships from 1951 to 1981, and just the optimism that Roger brought to everything that he touched, but especially to Wayzata football.
Lippelt coached Wayzata to 9 conference championships and was inducted into the Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 2001. He also coached and later mentored current Trojans head coach Brad Anderson.
I often think, what would Roger do? How would he handle this situation? And I think a lot of times I hear words come out of my mouth and I realize that, gosh, I've heard those words somewhere before, and typically they were from Roger.
While the Trojans are now considered perennial powers in football, it wasn't that way when Roger arrived before the 1977 season.
I remember going home from the first practice at Wayzata, and I came from Worthington, and we had just had just a great team that year. And I said, my gosh, what have I gotten myself into? And now, I looked the other night at homecoming, 6,100 people in the stands, and guys just expecting to win, and that definitely has changed.
Providence Academy's recent success in football also has Roger's handprints all over it. And maybe that's his greatest legacy. The impact he had and continues to have goes on and on, even as those of us who knew him will most certainly miss him. Funeral services for Roger Lippelt are pending. Meanwhile, the team that he coached most recently is getting set for homecoming this week. A 2-1 Providence team is building momentum after a season-opening loss. The Lions lost to defending state Class 3A champion St. Croix Lutheran 36-14 in the first game this season. St. Croix handed Providence 2 of its 3 losses last season. Starting with such a strong opponent can be a good thing. The Lions have bounced back with wins over St. Agnes and New Life Academy.
I think that our team definitely had a wake-up call. We were kind of coming off last year's state tournament and feeling a little bit cocky. But we bounced back. We fought hard. Our linemen really picked it up. We are now giving everything we've got to win that line of scrimmage.
I've been very happy with how we responded. I thought we played St. Croix tougher than we did in years past. And then we responded well with St. Agnes, and then responded well on last week versus New Life.
Providence returns quarterback Jackson Canfield and much of its line from last year's state semifinal team, but has had to replace talented running backs lost to graduation. This week it's Blake, and homecoming has become more meaningful now that the school and program have some tradition.
The crowd's definitely gotten a lot bigger over the years. We started off and there was just a few. And then over the years, now that there's actually people that have graduated from college, they're all coming back and they're all excited to see the school growing and the football program growing. I know the kids, they come back and they're not expecting to have a good football team, and we surprise them a little bit.
Providence and Blake kick off at 7 o'clock Friday night. In addition to that one, here's a look at the slate of other Friday night games for other local teams. Hopkins hosts Eden Prairie in a matchup of unbeaten Lake Conference teams. In the Northwest Suburban, Osseo travels to Armstrong. Park Center is at Totino Grace, while Maple Grove hosts Blaine. Benilde is at St. Francis in the North Suburban, while in the Tri-Metro Conference, Brooklyn Center is at St. Agnes, and West Lutheran plays Red Lake at Brooklyn Center. Cooper and Breck both play Saturday games this week. And that's a look at sports for today.
All right, thanks a lot, John. 2 Rogers residents are running to represent Maple Grove, Dayton, and Rogers in the state legislature.
In Local Vote 2012, we hear from Republican incumbent Joyce Pepin and DFL opponent Adam Fisher, both running in District 34A.
Hello, I'm Joyce Pepin, and I've had the honor of representing the communities of Dayton, Rogers, and Maple Grove in the Minnesota House. I am running for re-election to continue to bring a fiscally conservative approach to state spending and to create an economic climate in which small businesses can grow and generate the jobs our state needs. As chair of the Government Operations and Elections Committee, I've led the charge to reform government. I've also worked to pass legislation that provides fair and balanced education funding and to protect critical services for our most vulnerable residents. It's a privilege to serve you at the Capitol, and I welcome your comments and ideas. For more information, please visit my website, joycepepin.com. I respectfully ask for your vote.
Hi, my name is Adam Fisher, and I'm a candidate for Minnesota House of Representatives, District 34A. I'm a problem solver, not a politician. I have a PhD in physics, and I work as a computer programmer. My wife is a personal trainer. I've got 2 boys at Rogers High School and 2 boys at Rogers Middle School, doing well. I decided to run for office because I feel that Minnesota deserves a better government than the one it's got. I think we need problem solvers to come up with real solutions so we can do the right thing rather than the same old thing. Please vote for Adam Fisher November 6th. Thank you for your support.
Well, still ahead on 12 News, a story that is quite a juggling act.
You'll meet a standout student who puts on an interesting twist on the circus.
This week's standout student is embroiled in a puzzling murder mystery.
But it's not what you think. Renee Bonneau explains the link between Luke Davidson and a dead clown.
You're a guy?
For Purpich senior Luke Davidson, acting is his first love.
How you can learn so much about humanity, and you can learn so much about like why people do the things they do, and I have a lot of fun with that, so that's why I really enjoy acting and theater. Pinatas!
But it's not his one and only.
He is a great actor and a great singer, and he plays the piano, and he's composing, so it's kind of unique in that respect with him.
Offstage, Luke has been tackling his greatest theatrical challenge yet. It's called Bigger and Bulger's Circus of Terror, a 1920s musical murder mystery he's writing with his friend Jonathan Horn.
The musical starts out with this big opening number, and at the end of it, Louis Laughingstock, who is one of the main clowns and like the main attraction at the circus, he dies mysteriously on stage, and nobody knows what the deal is or how he died.
It's got a lot of parts. It's in a circus. There's tons of action. It sort of has a melodrama flavor. It's very suspenseful, and it's hilarious. Luke is a very funny kid.
Nobody likes an angry clown. You mess with me, I'll knock you down.
Luke says the musical is inspired by a trip he took to the circus when he was a young boy. He finished a rough draft, but when he's done with the final version, he and his classmates will perform the piece as part of the school's spring production.
Give me heck, I'll break your neck, 'cause nobody likes an angry clown.
Like in any good theater piece, he promises lots of twists and turns. As for the ending,
come see the show if you want to find that out.
Renee Bonneau, 12 News.
And the circus is actually in Luke's blood. Get this, he says his great-great-great-uncle was 7'4" and toured with Ringling Brothers as a giant. You cannot make this stuff up. Yeah, can't make it up.
Stranger than fiction.
That's right. That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Stay with us. Community Corner is coming up next, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow, beginning at 4.